So, the challenges of managing millennials in your workplace. That's the topic for this week. And our guest, Clair Kim, who is an expert on that topic, will be enlightening us coming right up. Okay, so particularly for people of my generation, managing millennials can seem a little bit tricky. I'm going to be, we're very lucky to have with us workplace strategist based in Canada, Clair Kim. Not only are you a millennial, but you're an expert in how to better manage millennials in the workplace. So tell us a few things that companies very often get wrong. Why do millennials need to be managed in a different way?
Millennials need, so I would say this is where companies go wrong, is that companies tend to overcomplicate the subject of dealing with millennials and Gen Z, when in reality, they were in their shoes before. The company leaders, they have their, young, wild and free days sort of a thing. And with that being said, because of everything that is going on with the pandemic, technological changes, and so on, companies are overcomplicating in terms of how are you approaching millennials and Gen Z. Everything is just going so fast. I don't know how to work with them. So the very first tip is to get out of the head and realize that we are just talking human to human. And in terms of organizational perspective, millennials and organizational leader, they do have one thing in common, and it is that they want the organization to succeed. So as you're managing your millennials, one of the things that you're going to need to do is be mindful of the fact that they're humans. They just have very different perspectives. So that is the first tip that I can give when it comes to managing millennials.
How is that perspective different?
So which is going to lead to the second perspective around giving millennials opportunities to step up. So this also really works nicely with the perspective situation. So an organizational leader, when they're approaching the topic of remote working, let's say, they might be thinking, we need to put more tracking systems in place to make sure that work is being done. We need to measure them, and then we need to almost tighten the employee monitoring process to make sure that their productivity isn't falling apart. And that's where the organizational leader might think that's the best solution for us. While as millennials, they might not necessarily think that way. So even though there could be a huge conflict in terms of how they think things should be done, at the end of the day, they are just trying their best in their own position and with their own perspective, trying to make this remote working thing work. And leading back to the second point, giving millennials a chance to step up, if the organization leaders continue to wait to see millennials to prove themselves, and you kind of just wait it out, they're going to be gone from the organization, because keep in mind, millennials do have higher attrition than a lot of other generational counterparts. And with that being said, if you're giving them the opportunity to step up, whether it is a small project or whether you take their suggestion and you're getting them to voice more of their ideas, some sort of initiative, some sort of way that they can see, wow, my work here is making a difference in the organization. Give them an opportunity to do that, and either they are going to step up to the plate and prove themselves, or they're going to leave. And if they do leave, that means they weren't supposed to be in the organization to begin with.
Look, that's a great tip. And I have to say, I feel like an old fogey in these sort of conversations. But probably older generations are, they have that mindset of, hey, I started at the bottom for 5 years, and,
Yeah.
I had to earn my promotion. But, things are different now. And I think that's a really great perspective that, it doesn't have to be a promotion necessarily, but just the opportunity to grow personally and professionally, and step up, as you say. I suppose one of the other concerns that older generations very typically have is that millennials seem to be very mobile in the workplace.
Mhm.
And I look at CVs, for example, and somebody's had 10 jobs by the time they're 30, I've only ever had 3 jobs in my life. But we kind of have to just get over that. I mean, it's a different focus and attitude towards career these days,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So people are more mobile. They're not necessarily moving within the organisation to learn more and gain advancement. They might be moving to different organisations. So perhaps that's one of the keys, I guess, to keeping people motivated and interested.
Yeah, it could also, this is just a little bit perspective shift that you can mull over as you are watching this video, is that when other generation counterparts were growing up, they didn't have access to these job boards. How they
Mm.
were hearing about these job opportunities was through maybe a referral or maybe a school's bulletin. While the millennials, they have access to more of these job postings. So in a way, even though the number of jobs might not have seen much of a difference over the years, because millennials are exposed to more of these opportunities through different mediums, they feel and because of that they're feeling that, oh, there's this one, I might jump. So it's not that they want to be jumping, it's
There's
just
more
that, oh, I see
opportunity.
these opportunities, I
Yeah.
might as well.
That's a great perspective. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's more opportunities around you all the time. Yeah. So I guess we have to work harder to keep the people we want to keep.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's a great perspective in a nutshell. So, I really appreciate it, Claire. And if you find this topic of interest and you have more questions around this, do comment down below. If you're watching this on one of our YouTube channels, then do think about subscribing. And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time we have a video coming out. And on our YouTube channels, we have new videos coming out every Tuesday evening, Sydney time, Australia. So, Claire, thank you very much for joining us. It's a great insight into the millennial workforce and how we can better work together.